Hello guys, my name is Lasha and today I will be having a training session about the topic how to nail a job interview. Why I have decided to prepare a lesson for this topic is that all of us are learning foreign languages in order to get a new job or maybe advance our career at the same company. So all these things are related to interviews and job interviews. And in many companies, they ask you to know one or two foreign languages. So we need to know English very well for what? For job interview purposes. And that is the reason why I have decided to prepare this lesson today for you. Let me check if we are live on YouTube and Facebook. I see everything is fine on YouTube. Hello, all my viewers on YouTube. Let's see if we are going live on Facebook as well. Yes, everything seems fine on Facebook as well. Good. Hello, Koktug. So a little bit about me. I have, of course, all of you know that I'm a teacher and I have 9 years experience teaching English language classes, but maybe you don't know one thing about me, that I have 4 years experience of working as an HR coordinator in an international bank. So I have conducted more than 3,000 job interviews. I was responsible for selecting new employees for our company, and I have selected a lot of people, let's say. Um, and also I have experience of working in 3 different countries. Okay. So during today's session, I will be focusing on two main things. I will be focusing on job interviews from uh, English language teacher perspective, and at the same time, I will be focusing on job interviews from HR professional perspective. Now, from English language teacher perspective, we will learn some grammar rules that are important if you have a job interview. Also, we will focus on the most common mistakes about the words and vocabulary, and we are going to learn some powerful words and so-called buzzwords for the job interviews. I'm really sorry, guys, but I need to check Facebook as well because there is a problem with Facebook. Okay, now everything is fine. Yeah, it looks much better. Good. First session of my lesson will be a job interview from HR professional viewpoint, like what is job interview, what is the purpose, aim of it, and also I will be focusing on some of the question types, the techniques of the questions, how you should answer these questions. I will show you the sample questions and sample answers, and we will decide together which answer is good and which answer is not good. This is from HR professional viewpoint. Then the second part of the lesson, we will focus on English language and how to use correct vocabulary words and grammar structures, not to be ashamed of your English language during the job interview. I think if you are intermediate, almost upper intermediate, you are able to have very good job interview in English. You don't need to be advanced in order to have interview in English, okay? Intermediate or upper intermediate students can very well do the job interview in English. Okay, now we have been talking about job interviews already for like 10 minutes, and let's ask this question to ourselves. What is the job interview? It is the most popular technique used as a part of the selection process. So when the company needs an employee, they can have a lot of different methods of selection and screening, and interview is one of them. The other techniques include tests, role plays, and etc. But interview is the most popular way for it. Now, as for the job interview types, we can have different types of job interview. First of all, about the place, it can be face to face. So you go to the office of the company and you have job interview there, face to face interview, or maybe you are invited in some place which company rented. For example, it can be in a hotel or conference center, etc. Then we have got online platforms like WhatsApp, Skype, maybe even Zoom. So you can have interviews using online platforms, and especially nowadays, due to this coronavirus pandemic, most of the interviews are done online in all countries, I guess. The next type of interview is pre-recorded video software. Like it's again online, but you are not talking live to the person. There are some pre-recorded questions, and you need to answer these questions. The software gives you some time. For example, you have 3 times to answer the question, okay? And the questions are pre-recorded. Job interview can be one-to-one. So you are one candidate and there will be one interviewer. It is one-to-one. Or maybe the company decides to do interview with a group of people. So there will be not one person from the company representative, but there will be 4 or 5 different people, maybe HR department, the other department managers, and etc. And you as a candidate. So these kind of job interviews we call selection committee interviews. So the people who are selecting you, we call them selection committee. Okay, so not only one person is responsible, but 3, 4 people are responsible for hiring someone. Let me ask you the first question right here. Which one do you think is a better way? One-to-one interview or interview with a committee? You, as a candidate, where will you feel more comfortable? If you are speaking to just one person or if you are speaking to 3, 4, or maybe 5 people? Where will you feel more comfortable, guys? Let's see your answers on YouTube or Facebook page. We are also live on Twitter, but unfortunately, I'm not able to read the comments on Twitter account now. iTool says one-to-one. Sonar also says the same, but Goktuk has a different answer group. PTR also says one-to-one. Now, I will say the positive and negative sides for both of them. If there is one-to-one interview, maybe it is easier for you to persuade one person, maybe, but at the same time, you have somehow kind of less chance. If this one person does not like you, your interview is finished. So you cannot get the job. But when there are 4 people or many people in the selection committee, maybe one person doesn't like you, but other people like you. So you have more chance to impress someone. Maybe not everybody likes you, but at least you can have 2, 3 people liking you. Kadir also says one-to-one is more comfortable, and hello to Vusius. Adam also prefers one-to-one. For me personally, I don't like one-to-one interview, and I will explain a little bit later why I don't like one-to-one interview. iTool says group interview is stress. No, it's not always stressful. For me, just it's totally opposite. When I'm explaining something to many people, I like it. And if there are 4 or 5 people in the selection committee and you are one candidate talks to maybe HR department representative, marketing department representative, and the general director of the company, I prefer this kind of situation, and it's not always stressful. Let's go to our next slides and let's talk about the purpose of job interview. Like, why do companies have job interview and why do you go to job interview? First, let's talk about from employee's perspective. So from the candidate, for example, you are going to a job interview and what is the purpose of this? First of all, you need to introduce yourself. This is one of the purpose of job interview. Another purpose is that you should persuade interviewers. Maybe you don't know the word persuade. It means to make interviewers believe in you, believe in what you are saying, okay? Another purpose of the job interview is to leave positive impression, um, and understand the environment. Understand the environment, I mean, when you have job interview at the company, first of all, you see the building. You understand where they work, how people work there, and you understand what kind of aura and atmosphere they have. And because of these, I prefer group interviewing with selection committee, because if I talk to only one person, maybe I don't understand a lot of information about the company and their behavior, their cultures, etc. But when I talk to 3 or 4 people from the company, I can understand better what kind of relationship they have, what kind of culture they have, and these kind of things. Mehmet says face-to-face job interview is more successful than online interview. For this one, I kind of agree with you. We of we need to conduct face-to-face interviews if we have time and resources. Because when you see someone face-to-face, it is more effective because you can pay attention to their mimics, gestures, and etc. much better. But online, you don't really have chance for this thing. However, in some cases, for example, if you are living in a different city and the company is in a different city and you cannot go, maybe it is good to have online interview. Or sometimes we are talking even about countries. Um, or during this coronavirus pandemic period, we can't go out, and because of that, there have been a lot of online interviews. There are differences how you need to behave during online interview and how you need to behave in face-to-face interview. I will have some time to explain these differences as well. What do you need to do differently with online interviews? And the last purpose for you when you go to a job interview is to ask some critical questions, something that you are interested in about the company. We will discuss this one a little bit later in more details. Now, what do you think is the company's purpose? Why do companies prepare the job interview? What is their purpose, guys? What is the company's, the organization's purpose for the job interview? I have prepared some things, but of course, if you have some ideas, you can also write. From employer's perspective, first of all, they are having this interview because company has a need. They have a vacancy. They need someone for the position. And when they identify in the company that they need someone, they identify, of course, the key things about this, like For example, the candidate should have 5 years experience. The candidate should know this. Candidate's education should be this, blah, 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 blah. So they will identify the knowledge, experience, and skills and competencies. Now, skills, for example, if the company needs someone in marketing department or PR department, like one of the top skills will be communication skills. The person should be able to speak very well and to be easy to speak to, etc. But if the company is looking for an accountant, maybe the top skill for the accountant will be analytical skills. Communication is not that much important, but they need analytical skill, how well the brain works and how the person is able to identify multiple data and use some of the logical algorithms and etc. blah 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 blah. So the company creates some kind of profile. They know what they want, and during the job interview they will try to compare you to this ideal candidate. For example, I applied for a job as an engineer, let's say, and I have education in engineering and I worked as an engineer for 3 years maybe, and I go to a job interview. For the engineers, I think one of the most important skill or competency is that engineers should be somehow creative person. Engineers should find innovative solutions to something. Okay? And when I go to a job interview, the company will see, okay, Lasha has education in engineering, tick. Okay, so Lasha matches this. Lasha has work experience in engineering field, tick. But then they also compare me, like with my skills and my attitude and my character to their ideal candidate. For example, they are looking for someone who is very easy to speak to, who will be able to talk to many different people in different departments to gather information. But if I seem very shy, I have amazing experience, I have good education, but I'm very shy person. So when they compare me to their ideal candidate, I might not be good. It does not mean that I'm bad. I'm not a good match to the company. And last thing, also, employer tries to predict your value to the company and your ability to adapt to the company. Predict your value, it means like they are thinking, okay, if we hire Lasha for this position, what Lasha can do for our company, what he can design in our company as an engineer. Also, they will think about the ability to adapt. Like, for example, I don't speak Turkish language and I applied in a Turkish company and not many employees at the company know English. So I need to adapt. Either I need to learn Turkish or the company colleagues should know English well. So I need to adapt somehow. So they will also think about this. Okay, Lasha is an amazing person and we like his competencies and he's very educated in this field. He has amazing experience, but our culture, the company, and Lasha, if we compare, it will be very difficult for them to adapt to each other. Or maybe I can give you another example. For example, in my past, I worked at the military. Okay, so I'm very tough, rough person. I like the directions and etc. And I'm strict with everything. And then I go to a new startup about software development company. These people are totally different from what I have experienced in my life before. So therefore, it can also be difficult for me to adapt to this situation, and the company will also think about this. Like, Lasha is coming from military background, so he has different culture, different ideas, different views. Our company is totally different, and it might be difficult to match these two. Now, interviewers' aim. A lot of people are afraid of job interviews. And I always tell everyone, like all my students, I tell not to be afraid of interviews. And also I told the candidates when I interviewed them to be relaxed and etc. blah, 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 blah. Why? Because interviewers' aim during the job interview is to choose the best match. So interviewer is coming to interview with good thoughts, with positive ideas, and they want to do something good. They want to find good match for the job. Okay? Also, the interviewer should try to create positive customer experience. Now, what does it mean, customer experience? Customer experience is like your attitude towards this company. Maybe you have never heard of this company before, and when you go to an interview to this company, this is your first time understanding the company, okay? So the interviewer always tries to leave positive attitude. So after this, even if they don't hire you, you will think positively about this company. So the interviewer should try to create positive customer experience to you. And also, even if they cannot hire you for this position, there is always future. The organizations always grow, expand, change something. They have reorganization, restructuring, and etc. So they are also thinking about their future. Maybe this candidate is not good for now, but in the future, when we need something, we can use him. It can be good for the future, okay? So they have very good and positive goals, aim, and attitude. That's why you should not be afraid of job interviews. Now, your aim as an interviewee when you go to the job interview is that number one, to show them that you are a best match. A lot of people have problems during job interview in these nuance. They try to say a lot of good things and they try to show themselves as very good, blah, 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 but they are not thinking about what the company wants. Do you remember I said that company creates some kind of ideal profile, okay? And they are trying to compare you to this. So your task is to show them that you are a best match for their ideal profile, for their ideal candidate. For example, like I'm an English language teacher and I applied for a job somewhere as a financial analyst. If I go there and I talk about my English language teaching experience, I will not be a good match for them. But I need to show them, for example, I need to focus that I have education in business administration, that I'm amazing in Excel and I can use a lot of formulas and I can create lots of good spreadsheets. So I need to show that I'm best match for their ideal candidate. Another aim that you have is make the interviewer or interviewers, if there are many people, want to work with you. After they finish interview, they should be thinking about you. They should not forget you. So make yourself memorable. This is next one. Third aim is to focus on the position. Of course, like what I said, if I'm going to a job interview as a financial analyst, I should say the things which are related to financial analyst position. But at the same time, think a little bit broader and think about future. Like this company is maybe, let's say, automotive sector company, and it is international organization. So I should not think just about this position, but I should think maybe in the future they will need something blah blah blah. For example, I had one time, once I had an interview. Somebody called me and they offered me to work in the call center as a call center operator. I was absolutely not interested in this position because I don't want to work as a call center operator. But I thought about it. I checked their website and I found that in other countries they have different operations and they do different things in other countries. So I, of course, accepted their invitation to the job interview, and during the job interview, I showed them my interest. I said, in the future, if you need this, I will be okay. So I thought about future possibilities with this company. And your last aim as an interview is to get information about company's culture. I have already said the same thing in the purpose that you should find as many things about company as possible during the interview. Some of the things that you cannot understand or you cannot find on internet or online. Okay, for example, what kind of relationship do they have with each other? For example, if you see three people in the selection committee, how do they call each other? The titles, do they use Mr., Mrs., or do they call just with the name? This one can give you very good idea about the formality in the organization. Are they very official with each other, or are they very friendly? If they call just with the names, of course they are very friendly towards each other. Now, aura and atmosphere is very important during the interview. Aura and atmosphere, it means like the environment. When you go to the job interview, you should pay attention to this, and even if you don't pay attention, automatically this affects us. For example, if you go to a job interview and you see a very dark room, of course you will not feel comfortable. Yeah? So the atmosphere is not good for you. And maybe the person like who is interviewing you does not have very friendly attitude towards you. It will also affect you, of course. So the aura and atmosphere should be friendly and professional at the job interviews. What I mean, like the place where you have interview, the interview room, it should look very professional. Always learn the space well. For example, before you go to a job interview room, probably you enter the company, the organization, look in the hallway. Okay? And check everything what they have. For example, a lot of companies have pictures and awards and etc. displayed. Please pay attention to this. You can understand what they value, what is important for this organization. And I will tell you something about myself. When I go to a job interview, I always ask them, can I please go to loo? Loo, I mean restroom, bathroom, because I always want to check the bathroom. It is one of the first indicators for me about the cleanness of the company and a lot of other things. Okay. Now, we talked about the positive atmosphere and positive aura, but there can be also negative atmosphere and aura. Sometimes the companies may want to create stressful atmosphere on purpose. So this can be their purpose. If they are looking for someone who should work very well in stress, maybe they will create stressful atmosphere for you. It is said that there are two things most stressful about the room and atmosphere during a job interview. Number one is if the chair is in the middle of the room and you cannot see what is happening behind you. If you are sitting near the wall, it is okay because your back is supported and protected. But if you are sitting in the middle of the room and you know there is a door behind you, but you cannot see this door, you will not feel comfortable. You will feel very stressful because you never know who can come into the room or who can be watching you. So this is number one, where the positioning of the chair during the interview. And the second thing is about light. This one is used, I don't know if it is still used, but in the past it was used by KGB. You know KGB, guys? KGB. Letter K, G, B. If we think about Soviet Union, it's like FBI for Soviet Union. And if they always used this lighting under the chair or from the behind, because it gives a lot of stress. For example, I have got a light over here, okay? And if they put some kind of light right here, so it comes directly into me, it creates very stressful atmosphere, okay? This was the method used by police in KGB, Soviet Union. Something like this. So this is very stressful atmosphere, and in good companies, you should not have this kind of atmosphere. Before you go to a job interview, you need to prepare very, very, very well for the job interview. Now, what does it mean, preparing for the job interview? You need to do like homework. Okay, it is your homework and you should do it. If you don't search information about the company, you will not be successful at the job interview. Learn JD. JD is job description. When you see vacancy on internet or some other places, for example, career.net, you check the responsibilities of the person and the work, task, description. So this is job description. So learn it very well. Also, ask people about the job or company. If you know someone working in this company, of course, try to talk to these people and you can understand some information about company like this. If you don't know anyone working in this company, but maybe you know someone who works on similar position, same position, but in a different company, also ask questions to that person because you will understand better about the job. Learn the company website very well. All the information that they have on company's website, especially mission, vision, and these kind of things. Also think about possible questions. You are going to an interview. What can they ask me? Think about this. Ask yourself, what will they ask me? For example, if I apply for a job as English language teacher, what will they ask me? Of course, they will ask me, how many years work experience do I have? Which groups do I teach? Kids or adults? Which materials I use? Have I ever created tests? They will ask me these kind of things. So think about possible questions interviewer might ask you. And the last thing, learn yourself. Now, it may sound very stupid and absurd for some people, but sometimes we don't know ourselves very well because we are so familiar with ourselves, like we think we know everything about ourselves and we never think about it. But when they ask you something, you realize, I have never thought about it. Yeah? So because of this, you need to learn yourself very well before you go to job interview. For example, what you are good at, and what are your weaknesses, these kind of things. The most important thing during the job interview is your attitude and positioning. Attitude, do you know, guys, the meaning of attitude? Does everyone know the meaning of attitude? Let's see some comments. Do you know the meaning of attitude? Let me check if we have got comments on Facebook. Attitude, it means, in Turkish, someone provided explanation. Yeah, I hope it is correct. It is like a behavior. Sana, you are correct. If we combine two things, your thoughts and your behavior, attitude is something like that. Okay? Your thinking and behavior. Together, it is attitude. So most important thing during job interviews is your attitude and positioning. What I mean in positioning, let me explain. People are afraid of job interviews. Why? Because they position themselves as not superior. They think that interviewer is superior than you. Like, I'm going to a job interview and I'm in a bad situation because they are checking me, they are comparing me, they are controlling some things about me. They are superior than me. And a lot of people think that job interview is something like teacher-student or parent-child situation. And if you are a candidate, you are a student and interviewer is teacher, or you are a child and interviewer is parent. This is very, very big mistake, guys, because you should position yourself at the same level. Interviewee and interviewer, both of them are at the same level. Why? Because you are offering your service to the company and they are offering you money for this service. So it is like trade. You are trading your time and your knowledge, your skills, etc. They are trading salary, place, like workplace with you, and some other benefits. So there should be equal positioning. Yes, they're comparing you and they are trying to choose the best candidate for the position, but at the same time, you are comparing different companies and you are choosing where you prefer to work. What is your desired job and which one is your desired company? I know that in current situation, it is somehow difficult because there is very high level of unemployment and there are not so many jobs available. Yes, of course, I can agree if you tell me this one, but still, like if you don't like the company, you will not start working there. Yes? So still you are somehow choosing where you want to work. So they're choosing you, you are choosing them. That's why you are both equal. Okay? There is no superior or major minor positioning. Okay? Next thing that we should pay attention to is question types at a job interview. What type of questions they can ask you? First of all, they will ask you some factual information questions. Factual information questions are what, when kind of questions. For example, where did you work at your in the past, or what was your task at your last job? When did you start working? These kind of things are about facts, okay? Also, job interviewers may ask you situational questions. Situational questions is something like if situations. For example, If you had a conflict with your colleague, how would you solve it? So, imaginary situations. Actually, this is not very good technique, and job interviewers should not use this technique, but sometimes they use it because also they are not very, very professional, maybe. And the last type of question that I wanted to say is shock method questions. This is not used very commonly, and usually interviewers don't use this one, but sometimes they may use it. These kind of shock method questions asks you something like very, very shocking. For example, suddenly, interviewer may ask you, did you kill someone? And of course you are shocked, like you don't expect this kind of question. Or maybe they might say, I have seen you stealing money from somewhere, etc. So these kind of questions are not popular and they are not good questions, but they might use these questions to check your stress level. Some HRs like these things, but personally I'm totally against of shock method. Now, if you have a very good job interviewer, if you go to a very good company and the person who is interviewing you is very knowledgeable, they will try to use double checking questions. Double checking is when they ask you a question and after some time, maybe 5 minutes later, they ask you again same question but with different words. Please accept this as very, very normal thing. A lot of people get nervous and they don't know what they should do because they already answered this similar question. Why is person asking me? The person is double checking you. The person is checking if you said correct thing or not correct, if you lied or not lied. Maybe they are checking this. Or maybe they are just checking if they understood your answer correctly, okay? And the best interviewers will use competency-based interview questions. Competency, probably you understand the meaning, is your skills, knowledge, experience, everything together is your competency. And when they identify the job, what they need, for example, they need accountants, they identify some competencies, what this accountant should have, what kind of person this accountant should be, and during the interview, good interviewers ask you questions to check these competencies. If you really have these competencies and if you are good with these competencies or not. Okay, so these are 5 main types of questions that people might ask you during job interviews. I see the time and I think it is time to have a break. Let's have a break for 15 minutes and I will be back with you 15 minutes later and we will discuss some sample questions and we will talk about vocabulary and grammar. See you in 15 minutes. Please stay with us.
Olduğun yerden hemen kalkman gerek. Adım at ki gerçekleşsin her dilek. Bekliyor seni parlak bir gelecek. Sen ona gittikçe o sana gelecek. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel.
A world with a joy and smile, a world where everyone will live by satisfaction and learn to survive in the outside world, just sing your style. Learn, play, sing and dance, do what you don't see anywhere else. Learn, play, sing and dance, do what do, just sing your style.
Hayat devam ettikçe bitmez bu yarış. Sen de bir dil öğren, macera hala tanış. Hayat devam ettikçe bitmez bu yarış. Sen de bir dil öğren, bu dünyaya karış. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel.
Knife.
Knife. Enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic.
Pronunciation.
Enthusiastic.
And enthusiasm. Enthusiastic.
Reci bilmiyorum.
Recipe.
Recipe. Recipe.
Bir daha.
Recipe.
Clark.
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 Pronunciation.
Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. olduğun yerden hemen kalkman gerek. Adım at ki gerçekleşsin her dilek. Bekliyor seni parlak bir gelecek. Sen ona gittikçe o sana gelecek. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel.
And work with a joy and smile, a world where everyone only by satisfaction and learn to survive in the outside world, just sing your style. Learn, play, sing and dance, do what you don't see anywhere else. Learn, play, sing and dance, do what do, just sing your style.
Hayat devam ettikçe bitmez bu yarış. Sen de bir dil öğren, macerayla tanış. Hayat devam ettikçe bitmez bu yarış. Sen de bir dil öğren, bu dünyaya karış. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel. Just English'le şimdi sen de dile gel.
And I'm back with you. I hope you enjoyed your break. Let's continue now and have a look at some of the sample questions at the job interview. First block that we will look at is personal info. So in personal info, interviewers might ask you questions like, can you please introduce yourself or tell us about yourself? And your answer will be something like, my name is blah, 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 blah. So for these kind of questions, there are some do's and don'ts. So what you should do. You should, of course, say your name. They know your name from your CV, but please say your name when you start introducing yourself. Total work experience, like I have been working for 10 years. Or I have worked for 10 years. You can use present perfect continuous or present perfect simple with a little bit difference between them. Give just key details about experience, but don't go into very details. When you introduce yourself, don't start with your last job and say a lot of things about your last job. No, say in total. For example, if you ask me this question, can you introduce yourself? I will say, hello, my name is Lasha, as you probably know, and I have 10 years of working experience in many different fields. 3 years as a blah, 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 8 years as a teacher, and etc. Okay? So don't go into details. Just say some key details if you want to mention, and finally, say your education. Now, what are the don'ts? What you should not say for this kind of question? Of course, you should not talk about your marital status. Are you single or are you married? Do you have a boyfriend, girlfriend? It's not important, guys, and the company should not be interested in this kind of information or family information. Sometimes a lot of people say, I live in Istanbul in blah, blah, blah district, for example, with my family. Is it important? No, it does not say anything about how well you can do this job. Hobbies, of course, not important in introduction for the first question at the job interview. Next block of questions they can ask you is work experience. There can be questions like, what were your responsibilities at your last job? Or what was your duty at your last job? What did you do at blah, blah, blah company? And you can answer these questions with something like that. My direct responsibilities included, or I was responsible for something, etc. Now, the do's for this, what you can do or what you should do. Have a structure and style of speech. For example, you have experience in 3 different companies, okay? And if you start talking about the last work experience, first you should talk about your last one, like the latest one. And you say first how many years you worked, then you said what were your responsibilities, then you want to talk about your previous job experience. Continue with the same structure. You should say how many years you worked, what were your responsibilities, okay? You use general to details approach. So first, give them general picture and then focus on details. A lot of people do the opposite and they start talking about details a lot, and the interviewer doesn't understand the general description of your job. Mention your key accomplishments during job interview. Key accomplishments like what you have accomplished in that company or what the company accomplished because of you. Now, what you should not say is the word we. A lot of people answer questions with we. For example, I asked, what did you do at your last job? And the answer is, we blah, 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 blah. We designed this, we discovered that, we created this. Who is we? I'm having interview with one person, yes? So if I'm interviewer, I'm interested only in you. I'm not interested in your company, okay? So that's number one. Second thing, about daily routines. No one is interested, like, for example, if you say that I always drink coffee in the morning, then I called some people, and then I had Skype meetings, etc. No, not these kind of things, but your responsibilities. Don't give a lot of details about your work experience. Why? Because sometimes there can be something secret about your job you cannot share. For example, if I go to another school and they ask me about questions about just English, I will not say which books we use, how many hours we have, because this is not something that I need to share with everyone, or what is our evaluation system of the course, okay? So some details are secret for your company. This is confidential and not show everyone. Talk about more how you did things, but not what, okay? What I mean is, for example, they asked you about your work experience and you said, I prepared some reports. This does not give any information, but if you say that I prepared some reports using blah, blah, blah software or using blah, 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 blah method, so this gives more information. So focus on how you did your tasks. Next one, usually interviewers ask you detailed questions about your work experience. For example, what was the most difficult job or task at your last job? What was your biggest contribution to the company? If you had a chance, what would you do differently? These kind of questions. And your answer can be something like the most challenging task was something as it involved, and continue. Now, do's and don'ts for this one. Show your personal accomplishments. So don't focus that much about company, what company achieved, but show your personal accomplishment, what you have done in this company, something big. Also, you can say what company achieved because of you. For example, you work at a company and this company changed the software. You were one of the key people in changing the software in a team. So, of course, you can say this. Show them innovative approaches, like something that you have done differently. For example, if I go to a job interview and I said, I worked with a lot of students and there were like 15 students in each group. This is not something innovative. Every teacher has experience of working with students. So it doesn't give them anything. But instead of this, I should show them innovative approach. For example, what I changed, what innovative steps I have conducted in the organization. If I say that I prepared the new evaluation method of the course for the students, this is something innovative approach. Also talk about savings, like what you have saved the company. Maybe some time, money, talk about effectiveness, okay? For example, I created a file which saved a lot of time because it calculated automatically the final result of the students. Okay, we did not need to use calculators anymore. Okay, so what savings did you bring to company? Now, as for don'ts, if there was a problem at your company and you want to talk about this problem, never blame it to anyone. Never blame it to your boss, never blame it to another colleague. Maybe you can blame it to the environment. Like, for example, you can say that the situation changed in the country, that's why sales decreased. So don't say, my sales were not so good at the last company because of my boss. No, don't blame another person. Don't say any bad message about your boss or other colleagues, even if you hated them, even if you did not like your manager, never say it. Because during the job interview, the person who is interviewing you is your future boss. So he thinks, if this person leaves our company, he will say same thing about me. So never say anything bad about your previous boss or colleagues. Also be careful with policies and rules. Like I said already, don't share something confidential. Next block of questions that we will discuss is why questions. Now I will discuss two different modules of why. Here I want to discuss questions like why did you leave the last job? Why did you decide to apply for change the job? So why do you want to quit your job? And we have got some do's and don'ts for this one as well. For if you want to answer a question about leaving a job, you can focus on your career objectives and goals. You can say that you want to develop your career, you want to advance your career. You can talk about some relocation. Relocation means going to a different city. For example, you need to move back to your family. So it is relocation. That's why you need to change the job. Or maybe you are getting married and your fiance lives in a different place. That's why you need to change the job. Resettlement, same meaning with relocation. Family matters, maybe you can say that your wife is expecting a baby and you want better environment for your family. You can say something like that. And it is also a perfect opportunity to praise the current company. Like, even though I'm changing my job, I really like the place where I work. This is very good message. If the interviewer hears this, they understand that you are dedicated person. You are loyal person, okay? So please say something good about your current job and current company. Now, what you should not do. Don't mention any conflicts. Conflicts with manager, conflicts with another worker, with your customer and client. Never. Never talk about salary. I'm changing my job because I want more salary. Never say this. And don't say anything about boss or management. For example, I don't like our managers, or I don't like the directors of the company. They are very bad, etc. So I'm changing my job. No, never say these kind of information. Next block of whys is about the company where you have interviewed. Why did you apply for this job? Why do you want to work in our company? Or what can you bring to our company? The easiest and simplest answer will start with I would like to. When you are talking about your motivation, you can talk about your goals and company's goals. Like you know that this company has goal to achieve something in 2025. You saw on their website, and you have also goal to develop something for you. Try to match this, make alignment and compare this. I want to work in your company because you want to become #1 language center in 2025, and I'm also interested in blah 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 blah. So match your goals with the company's mission, values and goals. Also match your skills. I said that you should learn job description very well. For example, you saw in their job description that they are looking for someone who is very innovative and initiative, and you know that you are this kind of person. Of course, use it and say it to answer this question. Next thing, show interest and knowledge. Show them that you know something about this company. You searched about this company. You read something on internet and you are interested in working. Now, what you should not do, again, don't mention anything about salary. If you have information about the company from someone who works in this company, please don't use it during job interview. For example, my friend is working in the same company and I know that they have very good salary. Don't use this information and don't say. And try not to give some cliche answers. Cliche is like everybody answers these things. So don't use cliches, use something more interesting and different. Next block of questions during the job interview can be about character or personality. Questions can be something like this. How would your boss describe you? What would your best friend say about you? Or what are your strengths and weaknesses? These are very, very, very popular questions during job interviews, and they can be very difficult to answer. So you can say something like, it is hard to speak on behalf of another person, but I guess he would say, don't say, oh, of course, definitely my boss will say I'm amazing. No, guys. Say, probably my boss will say something. So don't be very, very sure about what your colleagues, friends, or boss can say about you. Now, do's and don'ts for this. Show qualities needed for the job. What qualities you have that they need for this job. Show your general strengths, like not professional or maybe not even professional. Like you are a very punctual person. Of course, you can say this. I'm always on time for my lessons. I never missed a class at the university because I love learning new things. This is your strength. Unique things about you. Like, for example, if I go to a job interview as an English language teacher and I say, my strength is that I know classroom management well. Most of the teachers know it. It's not something unique about me. But if I say that I have used many different materials and that's why I'm very good at creating materials, this can be something unique. Always try to turn negative into positive. We will do one exercise about this. As for notes, don't show yourself as something very, very super, booper, mooper. Okay, I'm amazing and I don't have any weakness. I'm perfect in everything. Nobody is perfect, okay? Also, don't talk about laziness, bad mood, no motivation. Forget these things. And don't underprice yourself. Don't show them yourself badly, okay? Maybe you are very good, but if you say something bad about yourself, they will also believe it. So you are underpricing yourself. Don't do this. Next block of questions can be some information about company. For example, they might ask you, what do you know about our company? And you should say that you have read some things on internet, on their website, and etc. Please always search company information and learn their mission, vision, key indicators like key information about them. What you should not do, you should not be not informed. Don't go there and say, I don't know a lot of things about you. Don't give a lot of focus on the history, like I know your company was established in 1996, then in 1998 you opened a new branch. No, they are not interested in this, but they are more interested in mission, vision, these kind of things. Don't say something you know from internal source. Already we discussed this. Last part of the interview, usually interviewers ask you to ask them some questions. For example, they may say, is there anything you would like to ask us? Is there anything else we should know about you? And you can say, I would like, sorry guys, there is a spelling mistake, not lie. I would like to know the future steps of recruitment. Like, use this chance to ask whatever you are interested in. Show them that you are interested, like ask them for future steps. Okay, now we are having interview, when can I know the answer? Will there be any other tests or any other interviews? Ask these kind of also leave room for future cooperation. You can say, maybe you don't have any question and you are very stressful, you cannot think about anything. Okay, don't say I don't have any question. You can say, right now I don't have any question, but can I please send you email if I have some questions? Okay, and always thank them, say thank you to them. What you should not do, ask about salary, ask something personal like are you married or etc. Why do you like working in this company or something like that to the interviewer, and ask nothing. Of course, it's not good. Always say something. Don't leave their question without answer. Interviewers should never ask you personal questions. For example, are you married? They should not ask discriminatory questions. Discriminatory questions are things like about your religion, sex, gender, sexual orientation, and these kind of things. Ask anything not related to competencies. They should ask you only something that is related to your work. If this question is not about the job and if it does not show your ability to do job, these questions should not be asked. They should not tell you to pay something, like there are some scanning and blocks. Maybe you do online interview and you don't know, is this person really the representative of the company or not? And they may ask you, please, you need to pay like $50 for the assessment and evaluation. Never do this. And they should not do something immoral to you during job interview. But what if they ask these kind of bad questions or they behave badly to us? Be very diplomatic. Try to answer these questions in a diplomatic way. If they ask you something personal, don't answer it. I have noticed a lot of situations about this in Turkey. During job interviews, they ask you, who do you live with? Where do you live? Do you have boyfriend or girlfriend? It's not their business. I will not answer these kind of questions. If they ask me this, I will leave the interview and I will not start working at this company. Of course, it is very difficult to find job and sometimes you will say, okay, I know they are asking me something personal, but I need this job, so I will answer. Okay, this is your decision. I'm just telling you, you should not work in this kind of company which asks you, who do you live with and do you have boyfriend or girlfriend? For example, one time I had an interview with one of the schools in Turkey and the school director asked me to share my experience about my work. I started talking that I have been teaching for many years, blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, the interviewer asks me, do you have a girlfriend? I got shocked. Like, why should I answer this question? I said, it doesn't matter if I have girlfriend because my work is my work. And I understand very well the difference between work and personal life. During job interview, we already said that your behavior and attitude is very important. So you should try to be friendly, smile, and give positive attitude to them. Listen very well to the questions and try to answer all the questions, except for bad questions. Now for the outfit. Do you think you should wear something very official for job interview? Do you think people should wear suit, official suit for the job interview? Let's see your ideas, guys. Ms. Fatma Noor says yes. I will agree and disagree with you. We should always dress neatly, clean looking. Okay, so you should look very clean and well prepared and neat. But it does not mean that you should wear always a tie, for example, during the job interview. You should have professional look. For example, this is not a suit, but this looks very professional. So it's very good look for a man or for women, something like this. Also, she looks professional. Now, what you should not wear during job interview is number one, don't wear any t-shirts, okay, guys, or shorts during the job interview. And also, don't wear print. Print, it means the shirt which has some words on it, some text, lyrics written, okay? Something like this. Never wear print during job interview. There is one more thing also about the outfit. It depends on your personality and it depends on the company. If you are the person who doesn't like to wear official clothes, when you go to a job interview, don't wear official clothes. You can show your attitude to them. But if you're going to a very serious big company, you should always try to look good and dress neatly because we are all people. Even though job interviews are very professional and they should not really care about your look, everyone cares about how people look because we are people. When I see someone for the job interview and I see the person is wearing, for example, t-shirt which is not ironed, somehow it affects me. I understand this person maybe is not very organized person, okay? So always pay attention. For example, beard. A lot of companies ask men not to have beard at work. For me, this is part of me. I will not shave my beard. I will never go to a job interview shaved, and if they ask me, I will say no, I don't want to work in your company. Because this is part of me, part of my personality and my attitude, and I will show this attitude. Now, another problem, for example, is here, my earring. In Georgia, these can be a very big problem. Georgia is my home country, so I will give you example about Georgia. If I go to a job interview with earring, probably they will not hire me. Okay? So this one, yes, maybe I will take off the earring and I will go to a job interview without earring. I have had some success at the job interview because of how I looked. For example, I remember one of the schools where I worked, I went to a job interview and I was wearing very, very classical official and I had a hat, Federo. And the director of the school told me, oh, I like your hat very much. And when I started working there, I knew it was because of my look, because how I looked. Now let's talk about answering the questions during the job interview. How you need to answer the questions. You need to be assertive. You need to persuade them in what you are saying. Always try to be honest, guys. Don't lie during job interviews because it's very easy to find out if the person is lying. Show positivity once again and show your values. For example, if they ask you something which is not acceptable for you, you can say that it will not be acceptable for you because of your values. And when you are answering the questions, use analytical skills. I will explain a little bit later analytical skill to you. Generally, when you are answering questions about experience, I already told you, give the general picture first, like big picture, then provide necessary details. Show your unique things and be careful with professional jargon. For example, JD. I said that this is job description and I understand it, but not everyone will know it. Okay? Because if the person doesn't work in HR, the person will not know the meaning of JD. Or TEETH. This is some medical jargon. It means, I think, tested on everything. Please now test on homography or something like that. I don't remember exactly. So, if a doctor goes to a job interview and doctor uses this word, teeth, other people will not understand it. Also, be careful with terminology. For example, copolymer, I have no idea what it means. But every engineer knows the meaning of this word because this is engineering terminology. So if you are an engineer and you go to a job interview, don't use this word because engineers will know this one, but HR will not know this. If there is someone from marketing department during the interview, the person will not know this. Okay, so be careful with terminology. If you use some terminology, always also explain it. During job interviews, you should use STAR method. STAR method is an acronym, so it is short form for something. S stands for situation, T is task, A is for action, and R is for result. So when they ask you competency-based questions, always give answer with STAR method. For example, if there is a question like this, tell me about a time you had to complete a task with a tight deadline. Describe the situation and explain how you handled it. It is a very good question, very well prepared question. And we have got answer. So first, the candidate should explain the situation, then what was his task or her task, action, what the person has done, and what was the result. So we have got example answer like this. While I typically like to plan out my work in stages and complete it piece by piece, I can also achieve high-quality work results under tight deadlines. Once at a former company, an employee left days before the imminent deadline of one of its projects. I was asked to assume responsibility for it with only a few days to learn about and complete the project. I created task force and delegated work. We all completed the assignment with a day to spare. In fact, I believe I thrive when working under tight deadlines. I think the answer is perfect for this question. It shows the STAR method. It explains the situation first, then it says the task. So the task was to complete it in the deadline, action, what the person has done, and finally gives result. What happened? As a result, they finished it on time and they had one spare day, one free day. So they finished one day before deadline. Perfect. Let's see another example. Question is like this. What do you do when a team member refuses to complete his or her quota of the work? And the answer is like this. When there are team conflicts or issues, I always try my best to step up as a team leader if needed. I think my communication skills make me an effective leader and moderator. For example, one time when I was working on a team project, two of the team members got embroiled in an argument, both refusing to complete their assignments. They were both dissatisfied with their workload, so I arranged a team meeting where we relocated at the assignment among the team members. This made everyone happier and more productive, and our project was a success. Again, this is example of a very good answer, and it uses the STAR method. Now let's see some of the questions, and I will show you possible answers. You should tell me which one is good answer and which one is bad answer, okay? If there is a question like this, have you ever worked in a team? And there is answer yes. Is it good answer, guys? Is it enough? Question is, have you ever worked in a team? And you answer yes. Is it good answer? Of course, it's not good answer, and it shows very bad attitude from you. If there is a possible answer like this, yes, I have. Again, it's not a good answer. As an English language teacher, this is perfect answer for me. Grammatically, it is correct. Have you ever worked? Yes, I have. Grammatically correct. But from HR professional perspective, this is not a good answer. But if you say like this, yes, I have worked when I was part of a project at Lasha International. Third one is better than other answers here, but still it is not perfect. It is not amazing answer for this because it does not give any support. It just says that yes, the person worked, but we don't understand how he worked and what was good about him, okay? If we have got a question like this, are you good at managing a team? And person says yes, of course already we know that it's not a good answer. If there is answer like this, I can say yes, as I have had 10 subordinates. Grammatically the sentence is good, vocabulary is good, so we can say that it might seem like a good answer, but no, guys. It is not a good answer because question is about are you good at managing team? The question doesn't ask have you ever managed a team? The answer says only the fact I work with a team, but it doesn't say how good you are. If I say like this, I would say yes, as I have managed different groups at various companies and I have always managed to drive my team into success. For example, when I worked at Lasha International, I had 10 interns, and I helped them to develop and become the employees of our company. This is much better answer because it uses analytical skill. It gives the opinion of the person, and then there is support and example. Like you are writing essays. Remember, in essays you need to have your opinion, then give reasons and examples with support. Think like that. All questions should be answered like TOEFL or IELTS essay questions. We have got one of the worst questions that can be during job interview, and it is very, very popular during job interviews. What are your weaknesses? It doesn't matter what you answer this question because whatever you say, it will be bad. So, if you say, for example, that I'm shy, it is bad. They don't like you. What can you do? You say I'm lazy, of course not good. You say I don't like working overtime, not good. Try to make your weakness look like something positive, guys. For example, if you say I don't know English well, this is bad because the company will not hire you. But if you say I don't know English well, but I'm currently taking a course at Just English, I'm good at reading and writing, therefore I will not have a problem with English correspondence. This answer shows your weakness but at the same time, it shows that you are interested in learning, and it shows that you are learning English at a good place, and that you can work with emails and phone, not phone, maybe email, writing emails, answering, reading, etc. Okay, maybe they don't even need your speaking level so much, so this answer will be very good. Another one like this. If they ask what are your weaknesses and you say I'm shy, definitely not correct. If you say I can't organize time well, it is not correct. If you say I'm very careful to details, it might sound as a good quality, but sometimes I don't see a big picture. Is this good answer? Is answer 3 good one? Do you think they will like you after this? The beginning of this answer is good. I'm very careful to details, and it might sound as a good quality. This part is good, but then it's not good. If you say that I don't see a big picture, he forgets big things, so they don't like you. But if you say something like this, I'm very careful to details, and it makes me over dedicated to work, which means I still think about my tasks after finishing working hours or after working hours finish. This one is a good answer. It shows that, yes, maybe it's weakness that you are oriented to details very much, but it shows that when I finish work, I still think about my job. So I changed negative thing into something positive. This was all about job interview from HR perspective. Now let's talk about English language nuances about job interviews. First thing, important grammar rules is when you are talking about your position. You can say something, easiest sentence, I'm a designer. Or you can say, I work as a designer. Pay attention to as here, guys. Or you can say, my position is designer. Or you can say, I'm employed as a designer. All of them are grammatically correct, and you can use these sentences. Now let's talk about tenses. Which tense you need to use during job interview. If you are talking about your current job's daily tasks, you will use present simple. Don't use present continuous. Turkish students like using present continuous for daily tasks routines, but don't do it, guys. For example, they ask you about your tasks and you say something like, I prepare reports. Okay, not I'm preparing report. If you, the question is about current job, finished project, already it finished, of course use past simple. If you want to say something about overall experience and you want to say period, use present perfect continuous. For example, I have been working at Just English for 5 years, okay? If you want to talk about past job and there was something daily task or finished project, it doesn't matter. Past job, you always need to use past simple. If you want to talk about experience without giving any time, you will use present perfect simple. For example, they ask you, have you ever worked in a team? You will say, yes, I have worked in a team, blah, blah, blah. I'm not giving any time there, so I need to use present perfect simple. Important grammar rules when answering the questions about your duties is using gerund or participle, like verb ing forms. For example, they ask you what are your responsibilities, you will say I'm responsible for and ing, delivering lessons. Or you can say my duties include, again, ing, designing new courses, creating something, developing something. If you say sentence like this, my tasks are, still use ing forms, gerund form or participle form of the verb, okay? Don't use my tasks are to blah, 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 to develop, or my tasks are developed materials, okay? Developing, use ing form. Now for the vocabulary tricks. There are some words which look very similar to each other and you need to know them very well. First pair is work and job. They have very similar meaning, but job is countable, work is uncountable. Okay? You can say that I have a lot of jobs, but you cannot say I have a lot of works. Next one is responsibility, task, and duty. Responsibility is something more general. Task is very specific. Duty is between responsibility and task, okay? Duty is a little bit higher than task. Supervise, control, and manage. Manage is the highest level, so you do everything. For example, when you say, I manage the team, it means you are responsible for everything about this team. When you say control, control is just one part of the managing process. Supervise is it means kind of same with manage, but supervise means that you are not so much involved in it. Like you only give some direction to the group and they do it by themselves. Include and involve, they have almost same meaning, and you need to know these words if you go to a job interview. Next thing, guys, please don't use during job interview do or make. For example, I do reports, I make reports, I do lessons, I make lessons. Of course, no. Instead, try to change with perform, design, develop, carry out, implement, draft, conduct. For example, I conduct lessons every day. I drafted new tests. I implemented this project. I carried out research. I developed a new course. I designed tests for the company. I performed, what can we say about performed? I performed evaluation interviews. Okay? So don't use do or make, but instead try to use different verbs. Don't use worker. I have seen this a lot in Turkey. Instead of this word, please use employee if you are talking about one person, or colleague. If you are talking about all of them, you can use staff, you can use personnel. You can also use a workmate, or you can also use fellow. But don't use worker. Another thing about vocabulary is don't use the word hard or difficult. Because hard and difficult, both of them have negative perspective and negative nuance. But if you say challenging, it is much better. Why? Because challenge means something difficult and interesting at the same time. Okay? So instead of using this was very difficult, you can say this was very challenging, but I managed to do it. Okay? Don't mix up these words, guys, during job interviews. Director, manager, supervisor, coordinator, and boss. I have seen in Turkey that boss has different meaning. You use boss in Turkish culture differently, but in English, boss has different meaning. And please learn very well the meaning of boss, director, manager, supervisor, and coordinator. In Turkey, you use boss when you are talking about the owner of the company, but or the director. But in English, it is totally different thing. My manager is my boss. It doesn't have to be the director of the company or owner. No, owner of the company is the owner of the company. There are some powerful words which you should use during job interviews, and it is very good if you use these words during the interviews. Like for something like this. I can and I will. If you show this attitude, it will give you very good evaluation. They will like you very much if you use this phrase, I can and I will. A lot of companies are always interested in finding someone who can do something and who will do something. For example, I'm very good at accounting. I can do it, but I will not do it. So I'm not a good accountant. But as for teaching, I can teach and I will teach. So if I use these, they will like me and they will hire me. I look forward to. When you finish the interview, somewhere at the end of the interview, please use this phrase and say, I look forward to working with you. Or I look forward to cooperating with you. Skills. Mention these words. Skills and goals. In almost every answer, you can say something about goals. And when you are talking about your goals, and the company's goals, it gives very, very good message to the interviewer, and they will hire you. Always provide examples. So it is very important and powerful message if you show examples during your job interview. I have got one more slide about some other buzzwords, some words that you should use during your job interview, and it will give them very good and positive thoughts about you. We. Do you remember I said in the beginning of the presentation that when they ask you about your responsibilities, you should not say we. It is correct. Don't say we about your last job, but say we about this company. For example, now I'm having a job interview and I say, I think we will do this very well. Okay? So already I'm identifying myself with this company. Already in my mind, I'm linked to this company and interviewer will like this very much. Another buzzword is flexible. In the 21st century, everything changes. For example, we never expected Corona. Nobody was ready for the Corona. But because of Corona, a lot of companies have closed down. A lot of companies needed to change their way. For example, we are not having face-to-face and in-class trainings, but we are having YouTube lessons right now. Yes, we are not ready for it. So companies always look for someone who is flexible, who can manage these kind of situations. Okay? So use this word. I'm very flexible. I can adapt to new and different things. Next buzzword is initiative. Organizations love very much if the candidate shows some initiative and is initiative person. Initiative is something like when you do something not because somebody asked, but because of yourself. So it is like self-motivation. For example, I will give you example. Nobody asked me today to prepare the presentation and PowerPoint presentation, okay? But it is done with my initiative. And if I say this during job interview, they will like me. Opportunity. Try to use these words. If they ask you something like, why do you want to work with us? You can say that it is an amazing opportunity for me. Success and result. Always try to use this word in the job interviews, and somewhere in the job interview, use a sentence like this. I'm very result-oriented person. I care about results. Success is important for me. And if we have good result, we are successful. So if you use the combination of these words, success and result, it is a very good buzz for the organization. And mission or vision. Every interviewer and every company will love you if you talk about their mission. Because mission is the most important thing for the company. It is like their main idea, mentality, character, and personality of the company. And if you say something good about it, you have a very big chance, very high chance of getting that job. Thank you very much, guys, for today's lesson. I think it was very productive and we learned a lot of things about job interviews, how to ace your job interviews. If you have got any questions, I will be more than glad to answer it. I can give you maybe 1 minute, and if you have any questions, please write on our YouTube or Facebook channels and I will answer all your questions, and I will answer honestly. Meanwhile, please don't forget that all our videos are uploaded on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter account. So if you cannot join live lessons, you can also watch the uploaded versions of the video lessons. And please don't forget to like the videos, comment some good things about the videos. Also, I always share all my lesson notes for the video, and if you click in the description part, you will find the lesson notes, but this is available only on YouTube. So on YouTube, you will see all the lesson notes for my lessons. For example, today's presentation will also be uploaded there. Today we have got next class starting at 9 o'clock. It is elementary level. Maybe you are not elementary level, but if you know someone like maybe your sister, brother, or another friend who is elementary level and is interested in learning English, you can recommend and ask them to watch our live lesson at 9 o'clock. As far as I see and understand, there are no questions coming in right now, so I guess we can finish the lesson. Thank you very much for your attention and for watching this lesson. I hope next time you go to a job interview, you will do amazing job and you will think about me when you get the job, and I will be very, very, very happy if you get a job because of this lesson. Wish you guys an amazing evening. Please enjoy it and stay healthy and safe. See you some other time for another lesson. Bye bye.